Happy Thanksgiving and welcome back to LightHearted. I'm Britton.
And I'm Rachel. And today we're diving into one of our favorite topics in the spirit of Thanksgiving. We're talking about gratitude.
Okay, we are going to do a Thanksgiving Would You Rather.
Okay, first one. Do you prefer your mashed potatoes light and fluffy or thick and chunky?
Light and fluffy.
Agreed.
Why though?
Agreed.
This is important.
Because it's better.
I agree. And then I can eat so much more because I have room.
Oh.
If it's light and
I'm
fluffy.
not chewing mashed potatoes. Yeah,
We're not chewing our mashed potatoes. No, we don't chew mashed potatoes.
Oh, this one's good. Ready? Have your entire dish with no seasoning or have every dish over salted.
Over salted.
Agree.
Over salted.
I think we're the same person. I think so too. Would you rather not have the ability to speak before you have Thanksgiving dinner or after you've had Thanksgiving dinner?
After.
Agreed. I feel like I can't speak anyway. I'm just like, oh.
I just want to take a nap after.
So tired.
I think we should eat Thanksgiving dinner together. I think we would just get along really.
Yeah.
We would put too much salt and take naps.
Would you rather clean up and prep the turkey or empty and carve a pumpkin?
Pumpkin.
Yeah, I don't like carving pumpkins, but I would much rather do that than empty the turkey. My mom does the turkey every year, and I'm like, their heart is just sitting in the sink.
Yeah.
That's so gross, guys. Ooh, this one's good.
I'm scared.
I'm excited.
I'm so scared.
Would you rather have dinner with your family or dinner with the celebrity of your choice?
Oh. I'm going to be totally honest. I know what your answer is going to be, and I love this. I would rather just eat with my family because Thanksgiving Day, okay? All other days, I'm very polite. Thanksgiving Day, I eat like a freaking monster, like double fisting all my food, and then like I would fit in great at like a Renaissance fair or something. Like, just I want to eat all my food and I want to watch a show and I want to take a nap. That's
I love it.
That's it.
No, I love that answer. Mine is not that answer. Okay, honestly though, I love eating with my family. Like I do love doing that. But if I had the choice, I'm gonna go have Thanksgiving dinner with Kane. Obviously. So, okay, we're gonna do one more.
I love these. Keep them coming.
Cook Thanksgiving dinner or clean up Thanksgiving dinner?
Cook.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Ew.
Okay, ask it. I want to know.
Eat an entire raw onion or chew and eat a clove of garlic.
Garlic.
Me too, first. That's gross.
It's good for you, though.
Would you rather eat dinner at the kids' table or eat at the grown-ups' table?
Depends on the kids and the grown-ups.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'd rather eat at my own table.
Same.
Alone.
I'd rather eat in my bed.
Thanksgiving dinner. Can we have a...
Yes.
Can we...
Yes.
It doesn't have to be on Thanksgiving.
No, yes, let's do it.
Thanksgiving dinner in bed.
Yes. Yes.
We could watch the parade.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Eating pie in bed is like either the saddest moment of your life or the happiest moment of your life. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, you either eat like depression pie or you eat like happiness pie and that's it. Like there's not like I had an okay day. We're just going to eat like dessert in bed. It's like today was a tough day or like today was great and I have dessert.
Yeah, that's
it.
so true.
So we can have either a depression Thanksgiving dinner or a happy Thanksgiving dinner.
Whatever we're feeling. That's amazing. We could do it after Thanksgiving and just bring our Thanksgiving leftovers.
That's a great idea. We should do that.
Okay. I have one more question that is not on the list.
Okay.
What is one Thanksgiving item that you can't live without? Like what has to be?
Oh, food?
Yeah.
Food. One is mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes is on the list. I have to have mashed potatoes.
Do you have to have gravy with your mashed potatoes?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have to, but Thanksgiving, yes. And see, I'm not a huge turkey fan. So I like smother it in gravy and still eat it because protein.
Yes. I feel like Thanksgiving is the only day of the year that I'm okay with all of my food being friends.
Yeah.
Because the gravy.
Yeah.
Like
just
makes
pour
it all
gravy
friends.
over top of everything. I love it. mac and cheese, noodles,
Yeah.
stuffing with gravy on it. I don't eat dessert on Thanksgiving.
Why?
I love food. I am not, like, I like sweet stuff, but it has to be when I want it, like on occasion. So if there's a bunch of food, like mac and cheese and mashed potatoes, I'm going to fill up on that and I'm not going to eat dessert.
Pick the mashed potatoes over the pie.
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense.
Oh, yeah. And then after Thanksgiving, what you do is you take a roll and you put mashed potatoes on it and gravy on it and turkey on it and you close it and you eat it like a sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so
It's a Thanksgiving sandwich.
You eat it like a sandwich. It is a sandwich, Rachel.
It's like bread on both sides.
Oh, my God. No, it's so good. I made homemade
amazing.
rolls for Thanksgiving one year.
Oh, yeah.
And I haven't
you
done that
did.
again. What you do is you make a really large batch and you split it in half and you use one half and you make homemade cinnamon rolls.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds really good.
So good. They're so good.
I have never successfully made homemade cinnamon rolls.
Okay, well, I'm going to come over and we're going to do that.
Deal.
I love it.
I love everything about that.
Gratitude is such a powerful tool, but it's not always easy to practice when life feels overwhelming. So today we're going to share some personal stories, tips, and the science behind how gratitude can really change your life.
We're talking about how the simple act of being thankful can completely transform your mindset and help you find light even in your darkest moments. I would love to just start by talking about what gratitude really means to us. When I think of gratitude, I don't just see it as, saying thank you for things, which I don't think a lot of people see it that way. Mm-hmm. But I really think it's just a mindset and how you see the world and being focused on every good thing that you do have instead of feeling like you're missing out on a lot of things.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. For me, gratitude is all about finding the silver linings. Even when things aren't going your way, it's training your mind to look for the good, no matter how small it might be. We'll talk more about that in next week's episode.
I'm so excited for next week's episode too. I've noticed that for me, gratitude shows up in like really unexpected little ways. So without going into too much detail, I remember a time where like I was just going through something really tough and it was just this prolonged event that I just wanted it to be over, and I was feeling really miserable and just like seeing what everybody around me had and what I was missing out on, and I was feeling really sad about that. But then like I had this moment where I realized that everything was going to be okay, and that like in that moment I had everything that I needed so that like I could get through that part of my life. And I think that having that mental shift kind of changed my perspective moving forward, but it's something I still have to remind myself about
for sure.
pretty often.
Yeah. I feel like it's those small moments that really matter. I know for me personally, like my family did foster care for a while, and our very first placement, it was like so fun. We had like 3 pretty much babies. They were really young. And I remember we had them for 9 months. And so when they're that young, they change a lot in those 9 months. So we attached, they attached, and it was really hard, and they were going to go home. And that was really hard. I remember getting physically sick thinking about it leading up to it, because it was like I bonded with these babies and now they're just not going to be a part of my life anymore. And it was our first one, so it was like extra hard. And then I remember just thinking to myself, if I can just be thankful for the time that I had with them rather than so sad that they're leaving, and thankful that they're able to go home, because that's a good thing. Like that's why we do it. Like that's what foster care is for. And so just being able to have gratitude in that moment, that helped tremendously. So I just feel like if you can look at the positives, like, yeah, it was sad and I was missing, it was going to be really hard, but being able to be thankful for the moments that we did have with them was super special.
And I just think that's amazing. And like the fact that they can come and just be safe in your home while their families get ready for them is amazing. How old were you when they left?
When they left?
Yeah.
I had just turned 19.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So like that's young, I think, to have that perspective though.
Yeah.
So what was it that changed in you that was like, you know what, I can just be thankful for this?
I honestly don't know. I feel like it just kind of came to me towards the end. It was so hard. Like I just can't even. We had them for like 3 months before they started doing visits, because that's a thing. So when you have foster kids, they'll eventually, hopefully, be able to do visits with bio family. So that way they can still gain and keep a relationship with their biological family before they go home. which is super cool and important. But it took about 3 months for those to start up once we had them. And I remember the youngest at the time, 6 months old when we got him. And I just like loved that baby so much. And I had to hand him to the worker to take him in for a visit. It was just a visit. And I started sobbing. Because I was like, I'm just handing you this baby. Like,
Yeah.
It was so scary. So after that, it was like, okay, eventually these kids are going to go home. And I could barely handle the visit. Like, how in the world is this going to happen? And it was just, I honestly don't know. Like, I feel like God gave us a lot of peace. And also just looking at the season that it was. Like, this was a season. I got to enjoy it. I have tons of photos and videos and memories that I will never forget. Like, they were our pandemic placement, as I like to call it. We had them during the entire pandemic, like 2020,
Wow.
like the whole,
Wow.
which was really hard, but it gave me something to do.
That's so much light. That
It
comes
was
in.
super good. I loved having them, but being able to go, okay, now we're moving on to the next season and what's next. And there's, and then we ended up getting different placements. And so it's like, they're here for a season. And so being able to be grateful for the time and the things that they taught me.
Yeah.
Like, truly, they're little, but they still teach you things.
100%.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for being willing to share that, because I know that like that's such an important part of your heart is everything that you guys do for foster care. And I know that you've had like several placements that just really have stayed with you. So
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear more about your experience. I know like we have that kind of like slotted in there of like a foster care episode.
Yeah, that's the goal.
And I can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
Let's talk a bit more about the science behind gratitude.
Love science.
Love science. Research actually does show that practicing gratitude can rewire our brains to be more positive. When we focus on what we're grateful for, our brains actually release chemicals like dopamine and serotonin, which make us feel happier and less stressed.
It's amazing how powerful our brains are. And I think the best part about that, though, is that kind of no matter where you're at in life or who you are, it's something that you can still practice. I know that even on my worst days, and I think for most people, if we can just find one thing that we can be thankful for, it completely can shift your mindset and even change your day.
Definitely.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah, for sure.
I love it.
And the more we practice gratitude, the more it becomes a habit. It's like building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And soon you'll start noticing things that maybe you didn't notice before.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I definitely know that like when I'm trying to be more grateful, that so many more things pop up for me where I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's amazing.
Right.
And it's like stuff that happens all the time, though. I just had never noticed.
And you can do that with negative stuff too. Like if you're focusing on negative, you're going to see a lot more negative.
I agree with that. I completely agree with that. I think we can all agree gratitude, it's not just about feeling good in the moment. Practicing gratitude has super long-term benefits, like improving our relationships. It actually boosts our immune systems, which I think is amazing, and it can help you sleep better.
Yeah.
So if you're struggling with any of those things, you have poor relationships, you're sick all the time, and you sleep very poorly, maybe you should practice some more gratitude. Give it a try. Let us know.
Don't get mad at us. We know.
Don't get mad at us.
It's not fun sometimes.
But we would love to know what you think. Okay, let's get into kind of how we practice gratitude in our daily lives, because I know that's something that we both try our best to focus on. You know, even though like we're normal people, like we have crap going on constantly, but like we do try to focus on the good. So for me, I have a little mini ritual every morning. Like obviously I pray, but I like to take a few minutes at the beginning of my prayer to just think of a few things that I'm thankful for and to like vocalize those things that like, hey, I'm so thankful that I'm awake today, and I'm so thankful for this, this, and this in my life. And it seriously changes how my day goes. Sometimes there are days that I am not feeling very thankful. So I'm thankful for a cozy bed, or I'm thankful that my dog didn't wake me up all night. And that's it. Like, but it really sets the tone for my day. It really just makes me open my eyes, I guess, a little bit more to all of the good things around me.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kinds of things do you like to do?
I feel like I do something kind of similar. I try and always thank God as soon as I open my eyes. Like as soon as I'm awake, like thank you for another day of being alive and breathing and just, to be here. I feel like starting your morning off with gratitude can positively impact your whole day, and it helps me to not focus on all the negative things during the day. So if I can start off with some gratitude and be thankful for everything, then that really does set the tone for your day for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good way to do it. And I think we had talked about this before, but like if the only thing you can be thankful for is that you're here another day,
Yeah.
I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just start focusing on the things that you can legitimately be thankful for. So I have found that even on my hardest days, like throughout the day, so carrying kind of our morning routines with us, you know, if we can find many things, I like to say like little mental thank you prayers where it's just like, hey, good looking out. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Right. And it just helps me to be more focused on that. And I think like coming from a parenting lens too, like when I'm vocalizing that, when I'm like, oh man, that was awesome. We better say a little thank you prayer. I've noticed that like my son does the same thing where it's like, oh man, that was so like, I found my lost thing. I better say thank you for that.
Yeah.
And so I think like it can just have a really big impact even on the people around us.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So is there a specific time that you can think of that you were like struggling and gratitude kind of helped you snap out of it?
Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes when I'm really struggling though, I need like a catalyst for my gratitude where something else is like, be thankful.
Yeah.
Right. So, I feel like with church people, like typically they have lots of cute babies and, you know, it's great and it's awesome and they're all adorable. I was really struggling for a while to want to go to church because I struggled with infertility for about 5 years, and going to church and seeing all these adorable babies was really like hurting my feelings. I'm going to be honest. And like, it's nobody's fault, right? Like they're just living their lives and having their families and it's great. But like every time I saw these families with these babies, like it made me feel so sad. And so like, I didn't want to go. And I remember one time I like stepped out into the hall and I was just like, God, I don't want to be here. Like, I don't want to be at church. I don't want to come anymore. This is so ridiculous. Like, I have to know that it's going to be okay. And it was just kind of like go back in there, like go back into like the main meeting. And we always sing songs at the beginning. And I have one hymn that I always go to when I'm having a tough time. And that was the opening hymn for that day. And it was just this kind of like I was like, I don't want to be here. And it was like, be grateful. So my hymn is Be Still My Soul. And it was just like, everything's going to be okay. Like, it's all going to work out. You can be grateful. So from that moment, I was like, okay, like I can do this. Yeah. Everything's going to be okay. And like, I can be grateful for the things that are around me and for
you
my
got me crying, girl.
I get myself crying with that one. But yes, like it just meant so much to me that it was like, okay, like God speaks to me through music a lot.
Yeah.
Like I really feel that. And so it was just like, okay, he knew how to talk to me. And then it was like in the way that needed to happen so that I would truly know that it was going to be okay. And so then like from that minute forward, I was able to just like look forward in faith and in gratitude and just to like be ready for whatever the next steps were. And so like we started having meetings with new doctors and things like that. And it was just like every single step I was like, it's going to be okay. Like whatever happens. It's fine. Like it's all as it should be. So I feel like I often need a catalyst for my gratitude when I'm deep in sure. in my moments of not having gratitude. I really need some help.
Yeah, sometimes you just need a friend to be like, hey.
Yeah, like, hey girl, like life's good. Yeah. So I was very thankful in that moment.
It was beautiful.
Thank you.
Sad, but beautiful.
But like a beautiful ending.
Yeah. And I love that like God knew how to speak to you specifically because like every person's different. And that's so cool. Music is like my thing too.
It's the thing. Yeah. And like you could get up and like speak at me all day long and like that's great. And like chances are good that I'll get something out of it.
Right.
But like if you get up with like a really good song, it just gets into my soul. I feel it.
Yeah. Okay. Gonna need a minute.
Sorry. All right. So is there anything that specifically will snap you out of it when you're on the struggle bus? Like what helps you to bring your gratitude back when you're just like, man, life is hard right now?
Yeah. You mentioned music. Like that is a big one for me. Like being able to listen to, if I can just turn on some good worship music, I'm like, oh, okay, we're good. And it is so comforting and like it helps so much. Yeah. I don't know. I can't think of a specific thing without taking 10 years to talk about it.
I mean, we've got time.
Nothing but time. Maybe that story will be shared at another time. But I don't know. I just feel like other people is a big one. Like if
Yeah.
other people can just be like, hey, you're good. Like, you know, everything's not so bad. Or just being able to see other people's struggles. It's sad to see, like, you know, people go through a lot of hard things, and it's just like really fast snapshot of it. Social media, like, you will just see something and you're like, oh my gosh, I am so grateful for my health, or, you know, whatever it is, my house, because you just see so many people struggling. So that's a big one for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think specifically, like, social media can be so awesome for stuff like that, and like so heart-wrenching too, but like it's a good reality check.
Yeah.
I remember hearing somebody talk one time about how, like, if we wrote down our problems and then threw them into a big pile, and you could grab whichever problems you wanted out of the pile, you would probably grab yours back, which I think is
that's probably true.
It's probably true. Yeah.
And
like,
we know
once
how to
you see
handle
what
them.
everyone else is struggling with, you're like, oh. Yeah. Which I just think is so interesting. But yeah.
That's so sad.
I like that music speaks to you though too.
Yeah, I just need it.
But you have people too that you like to follow because they're so good.
That's true. That will. Yes. We are mentioning Kane in every episode.
We're going to mention Kane in every episode.
Accident, guys.
I would love if we could just share some practical tips like we do, so that, like, if you are a complete beginner at focusing on gratitude, like, I feel like we all go through things like that in our lives where it's like, oh man, I need to start again.
Yep.
So if you are starting again,
even if it's just today,
that's
okay.
a really good point. Yeah. Like, how would you start practicing gratitude in your life?
Yeah.
If you have any tips off the top of your head.
I do have tips. Okay, so my first one is to write them down. Okay.
That's a good one.
So I actually have a thank you wall in my room. Sticky notes, guys. It doesn't have to be fancy. I have sticky notes and a Sharpie. And I picked a wall in my room, and you just write down the things that you think of that you're grateful for. It can be anything. I wrote LightHearted on one, okay? I wrote Kane on one. You just write them down, you stick them on the wall. It makes you actually stop and think about what you're grateful for, and, like, really think about it. And then you wake up every day and see it. Or you could, I know a lot of people will put stuff like on, like, in the bathroom, like, while you're getting ready. So, like, put things somewhere that you're going to see it and remind you to be grateful. I think that's super important.
Yeah.
Or journaling at the end of the day, because it really does. It just makes you stop and really think about it. Because otherwise you might not. Like, if you have to sit and go, okay, what should I write down?
Yeah. But it's an action step tied to it, which is really cool. Aw.
Yeah.
I like that. And I like the wall idea because, like, it's not expensive at all. Like,
you could make it really fancy and cute if you wanted. I have Walmart sticky notes and a Sharpie.
Yeah. It's like, that's, like, so easy. And it's in your space. I really like that idea.
Yep.
That's really cool. To go along with that, I like to express my gratitude out loud. I think a lot of people, like, don't know when we appreciate them.
Very true.
You know?
Very, very true,
so I've kind of made it like my personal mission that, like, if I think you're a good human being, I'm going to tell you. And, like, if I'm thankful for something that you did, I'm going to make sure that you know that.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I don't know, I think it's just spreading the positivity of, like, hey, you did this thing and I really appreciate it. And, like, I noticed that you made a difference.
Yeah.
And, like, I know I appreciate it when people say nice things to me because I'm a human being. But yeah.
You do a really good job with that too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Rachel, do you have another tip for us?
So I feel like this ties in a little bit, but what you're consuming can definitely impact how you think and how you go about your day. I know we've talked about that a little bit, but same goes for gratitude. So if you're watching and listening to negative stuff and people complaining about what they don't have and all of these things, that's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Fill your life with positivity. Try and watch positive things, listen to positive music. And, like, without trying, you're going to start doing those things. So I feel like watch what you're consuming, okay? Because the only thing that can come out of you is what you put in.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think kind of to go along with that actually is kind of the reverse. If you're watching people on social media or whatever that, like, you feel jealous of their lifestyle or, like, it's just making you feel these, like, bad feelings about yourself and like you can't feel grateful for the things that you have because you're consuming all of this like massive stuff that like you don't have, like unfollow people.
Yeah.
Stop following them.
They may not be a bad person, but if it's not helping you, then
yeah, like if it's making you feel worse about yourself, don't keep things around if it makes you feel negative about yourself.
Yeah.
I think my final tip would just be to look for ways to turn challenges into opportunities, which I think is so much easier said than done.
Definitely.
But but I think something we can kind of ask is like, what am I supposed to learn from this? Sometimes hard things just happen, but I do think that for the most part, there's always some kind of silver lining, like you said. There's some lesson that can be learned, good or bad.
Right.
And so I think just being able to be thankful for the lessons and move forward in the best way that you can, I think it makes a really big difference. Yeah.
And like thinking back on my life, thinking about all the hard things, like I was learning things in the, like I wouldn't be who I am or do the things that I'm doing. So
yeah, and they're crappy lessons.
Yeah, they're not fun to go through, but think back and be grateful for them. Like it is hard. You said, you know, you go through things and maybe it's for nothing, but I feel like too, you may just not know. You may never know. Yeah. And it might take 20 to 50 years to know why you went through that, or you may never find out at all.
Yeah.
But
it's like you probably learned something.
You learned something, even if you don't see it.
Yeah. And I agree too, like you wouldn't be the incredible person sitting here if it weren't for all of the crap that you went through.
Yeah.
Yeah. For our next segment, we took to Reddit to see what other people do to start practicing gratitude, just to give you guys some more ideas other than our top tips, because like there's so many more ideas out there.
Definitely.
So please share yours with us too. We would love to be able to share those with our lighthearted community because other people do need some help with that.
Definitely.
Yeah. One user said, it sounds like you might be putting too much pressure on yourself to feel a certain way. So don't do that, like during your gratitude practice. They said, instead of focusing on trying to force a specific feeling, reframe the goal as simply establishing a habit and training your mind.
That's really good.
So instead of being like, I have to feel grateful by the end of this.
Yeah, that's true, because then you're just going to start to resent that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So instead, just looking at it like training your mind. What do you think about that?
I really like that. That's really helpful, I think.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reddit.
Super smart.
Smart people.
Smart people. Smart thinking.
Okay. I actually really like this one. So this person is recommending to catastrophize a little bit and say like, okay, if I went blind tomorrow, like what things would I miss? Or like if I went deaf tomorrow, what things would I miss? If I died tomorrow, what things would I miss? Wow. If you are struggling to make a list.
That's so true. I never thought about that.
Like that feels really like
I feel like I've done that though. Like not intentionally. Just like thinking of something happening and then you're like, wow, I'm so grateful for this.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's insane.
I did that the other day, actually, not like that. It was about a conversation though, but I feel like if you do think worst case scenario sometimes, the blow is so much easier. Like I was having a conversation with someone and they were going to tell me something and I didn't know what they were going to tell me. And I was like, it's just like really bad. So then my brain starts going worst case scenario. So then when it actually comes out, I was like, oh, okay.
Like that's cool.
I thought someone was dying or, you know, like it's like.
Yeah. It's like to prepare for the worst, hope for the best.
But like if I didn't think about that, then that may have been hard.
Yeah.
Like that conversation may have been way harder. I'd been like, oh my gosh. But because I planned for worst case scenario, that was like, oh, we can handle that.
That's it.
We can handle this.
Yeah.
So it's just like that.
I agree. It's just like it's mental preparation for your brain to be like, okay.
I don't know if that's like good advice.
Like, I
have no idea, like scientifically, or I have no idea.
I don't know.
Spiritually, good advice. I have no idea.
It might be good. Like it might be a good place to start. I don't know if I would keep like revisiting that well.
Yeah, that might become like you might become depressed if you keep thinking about all these sad things all the time.
I agree, but maybe as like a, you know what, like I feel grateful for nothing.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if I lost everything tomorrow, what would be my list of things that I miss?
Yeah.
Like maybe that's a really easy place to start. I like that.
Yeah.
I really like this one. They said, in my experience, practicing gratitude is empty and unfulfilling when done on its own. Gratitude is passive. Generosity involves taking action. Action results in change. What do you think of that?
I don't know what I think of that.
That's kind of interesting.
That is interesting. I connect it to, saying sorry and not making a change. That I feel like doesn't mean anything. So
maybe like feeling grateful and then doing something about it.
So like
you have your Post-it note wall where it's like, I'm grateful. Let me jot that down.
That's true. I feel like you can be grateful and not change things and
I agree.
Not maybe long term, but short term, and still feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like if you're going to wake up every day like us and be grateful that you're alive, or say your prayer or whatever and be grateful.
Yeah.
And then you get out of bed and you start complaining about everything and you don't put that into practice, then yeah, I guess it is kind of like an empty.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I'm trying to be more grateful.
I'm thankful that I'm alive. Okay, let's get up. And then you're just like, oh,
like you're never looking for anything else.
Yeah. So if you're not putting it into practice, then yeah, I guess it kind of is empty.
Yeah. I haven't thought of it like that, but I guess, yeah, like if you're working towards like the attitude of gratitude that everybody talks about, like, then like it does take action.
Yeah.
Interesting. I love smart people on the internet.
But don't let that discourage you. Like still.
Yeah. Like if all you can be grateful for is getting up.
And then your day, you struggle, it's okay. And just try again tomorrow.
Yeah. So I guess like maybe having the end goal of being like, I will be more grateful one day. Like I am working to be grateful
on that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of people who really just say that they have to make a conscious effort to look for the things around them. Like it's just training your brain to start looking for things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think is so hard. So I guess like a couple more practical tips would be, like set an alarm on your phone if you need to, right? Put a wallpaper on your phone.
I bet there's an app.
There has to
be an app that you can like write stuff down or remind you.
Yes.
Like I know I had, like this is different, but I had like a mental health app, or it was like a mental check-in. So like every day it would like send you a notification, be like, okay, check in with your emotions. How are you doing? How are you feeling? And what are you doing during these moments? So I feel like there's probably something out there like that, or you can just put it in your notes. But writing them down, I feel like is so beneficial.
I agree.
Because then you can look back on them, and it makes you like stop and think.
Okay, well, there are obviously like a million different ways to do this, and it doesn't have to be one way is the right way.
We hope today's episode inspired you to think more about gratitude and how it can bring light into your life, even on your darkest days.
Remember that gratitude is so much more than just being thankful. It's a way of seeing the world, and it's about finding the good in every single moment and holding on to that light no matter what, even though it's hard. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of LightHearted. If you're enjoying the show, make sure you subscribe and share it with your friends who may need a little more light in their lives. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at LightHeartedPod to stay up to date with all of our episodes and behind the scenes content. You can also join the conversation there if you have any thoughts. Please DM us. Tell us what works for you to focus on being more grateful for things. You can also hang out with us if you want to while we're getting ready to film these episodes on our own personal TikTok accounts. Those are linked below, so feel free to join us before we film the episodes. Until next time, keep finding the light. This podcast was recorded on Buzzsprout in West Virginia.